Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. What I've got today is my PvE build for patch 1.8. Now, first of all, I do not want to say that this is the most overpowered build or this is like the greatest build in the game. Obviously, with the global events coming out, there will be classified Nomad, Predamark, Banshee, Defense, so some of those gear pieces might be a little better and the combination might be a little bit better to use for PvE. But right now, this is the PvE build I have been using for the past 2 days. I really like it, and it's really good. It does a lot of damage. The survivability on it is pretty good, and if you are grinding something like Resistance or Underground, this is a build I would recommend using. So anyways, if you guys do enjoy this video or find it helpful, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more videos, and let's get right into this build. So starting off first, I'm going to show you guys my abilities and what I'm using. So the first thing is I'm using a overdose for my heal. I am not using a booster shot. Using a booster shot without Vigorous Chest is a death sentence for PvE, so I am using a overdose for a little bit more health and, you know, to get an overshield. Also, I am using a flame turret. I don't really like using this, but I do find that it's helpful, especially in Resistance. Whenever you are playing, you just put it down on the ground or somewhere above, and it kind of controls the crowd of NPCs a lot, and it's really good, especially when you're using an MDR. That's what I'm using for this build. It's a little bit better, and you can obviously use a immune station or a support station, whatever you want, but for me, this combination works the best. As for the talents, I'm using Triage, Critical Save, Strike Back, and On the Move. I've been using this forever, this combination of talents forever, and in my opinion, it's really good. You guys can obviously use something like Wildfire for your flame turret and kind of make it more efficient. But in my opinion, this is the best combination. So yeah, if you want it, go ahead and use it. Anyways, as for the build, this is what I'm rocking with. So yes, this is a build with a Ninja Bike backpack. Unfortunately, if you do not have this backpack, you cannot make this build, which I do apologize in advance. But if you do, you can go ahead and try this out and see how you like it. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is my MDR. This is my primary weapon. What I have on it is 24% enemy armor damage, 50.6k base damage, and for my talents, I'm using Brutal, Destructive, and the Distracted Exotic talent. Also, this is not optimized. This gear and this build is not fully optimized. You can get way better stats, you can get way better damage, output, survivability, and stuff like that if you optimize this build. Unfortunately, it is not. I do not have that much division tech, so, you know, I'm just putting it out there. Also, for my mods or my weapon mods, what I'm using is critical hit damage, critical hit chance, extended mag. I'm using headshot damage for the muzzle, and I'm also using critical hit damage for the grip. In my opinion, if you're using a MDR, I would just recommend stacking everything into headshot damage, even if you're on consoles, because the headshot damage is so easy to hit and so easy to kind of do with the MDR because it's so accurate that the headshot damage is just more beneficial in my opinion. For the secondary, I am using a M700 Carbon. Once again, this is something for kind of like long range, even longer range gunfights. I guess if I want to just snipe the NPC or whatever, then I use this. What I have on it is 157% headshot damage, 121k base damage, and I'm using Prepared, Deadly, and Elevated. So yeah, that's pretty much for my weapons. Now, moving on to the gear, this is where things get kind of interesting. So, the first thing you guys can probably tell is my mods. I am using all damage to elite mods with stamina. These were purchased a long time ago, so I'm not really sure if you can buy them right now. If you don't have them, then you can use something like a firearms or stamina health mods or something with skill haze. If you do have damage to elite mods, I would recommend using them for PvE. They're really nice. So yeah, I have them on everything, my backpack, chest, knee pads, and mask. As for the rolls, I do have stamina on my chest piece with health, skill haze, ammo capacity. And the only reason I'm using this is for the extra skill haze and skill power. In my opinion, right now, stamina is the best in 1.8, hands down. But if you want a little bit more survivability and if you want to get your heals a little bit quicker, I would recommend using some Tactician as well, so you can do that. Next up, for the mask, I'm using the Sentry Classified Mask, and this is mainly for the headshot damage and just so I can stack the damage with my MDR and do way more damage in the head. So what I have on it is 1369 firearms, 9900 skill power, and I'm also using 11% damage to elite roll, And then as you guys can see, I do get the 30 accuracy, 10% headshot damage, and also the headshot damage marks with Sentry. So as I said, you don't really have to use Sentry. You can go with something like Striker. But the reason I'm using it is because I have MDR, and I just want to focus on headshot damage and just melt anything in my way. As for the knee pads, I am spec'd into firearms, health, bleed resistance, damage to elites, and blind/death resistance. And then obviously, I do have the purple mod and a first aid self-heal. For the backpack, I am using the Ninja Bike backpack. Obviously, to make this build possible, you have to use this. So what I'm spec'd into is 1266 electronics, 12,000 health, and 15% disrupt resistance. Now, as weird as this sounds, I do wish this was ammo capacity because I kind of run out of ammo with the MDR quite a lot. So if you can get ammo capacity on your backpack, I would 100% recommend using it. As for the gloves, I am using firearms, enemy armor damage, critical hit damage, and assault rifle damage. Now, this is something I kind of debated on if I should go into skill haze or enemy armor damage. I ended up going with enemy armor damage because I do want more shredding power on this build, and if you are playing PvE, stacking into enemy armor damage and damage to elites, in my opinion, is the most important thing to do. Lastly, for the holster, I am using a Tactician's holster with a pretty decent firearms, stamina, and electronics roll, and I'm also using 7% skill haze. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the build. As I said, this is my main PvE build right now. In my opinion, this would be way better if obviously Classified Tactician was out in the game, but unfortunately it's not, so you gotta do what you gotta do and just use this. Lastly, I do want to show you guys my character stats. So for my weapon damage, let me switch to my MDR so you guys can actually see the real weapon damage. I'm sitting at 50.6k, critical hit chance 9%, critical hit damage 69%, headshot damage 154%, which is crazy. I do a lot of damage with the MDR in the head, let's just say that. Accuracy, I'm sitting at 30%. Next up for my health, I'm sitting at 301, and this is kind of in the middle. I want it to be a little bit higher, maybe like 320, 325. But right now it's fine. You don't really get melted that much, and if you do get melted, I'd recommend using an immune station or a life support station, so you can get a little bit more healing. And then lastly, for my skill haze, I'm sitting at 30%. So anyways, that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below. I respond to all my comments. But once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Trappers.